everyone. This is Victoria Fashion and welcome back to my channel. I have a very special guest here and I have Troy Payne from The Wake, and I'm going to go ahead and interview him and ask him a couple questions about their latest tour. So Troy, can you give us a brief history about The Wake?
Oh, well, we've been around a long time, so it's hard to sort of compress it all into a few words. But yeah, we started in the mid 80s and signed to Cleopatra in the early 90s. Put out 3 records with them. We just recently released stuff on our own label. And we're planning on playing a couple of shows here soon.
Okay, and then when was that? So since you're touring, the tour starts this fall. What cities will you be touring?
Well, we're actually only doing 2 shows this year, and we're playing in Newark, New Jersey, and then Madrid, Spain.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Can I ask why those particular locations?
Yeah, sure. New Jersey happened largely because Caroline Blind is there, and she basically set up that show for us. So we used to play New York all the time, but I guess the scene has kind of changed somewhat recently. So we're doing Jersey. And the Madrid show was actually left over from the mini tour that we had set up for originally for 2020. And that was like the last show that we could salvage out of that group of shows for this year.
So what made you decide to kickstart a tour? Was it because of the album?
Well, yeah, we were initially, we were going to go out to support the new record. It was new in 2020. So that was the plan. So, you know, we're just, kept getting pushed back, and so now we're just going out to do it.
So you mentioned how the scene has changed. Let's see. So you've been producing music that is an anthem and known widely by those young and old in the subculture. As someone making contributions and touring amongst the goth community all over the world, what would you say would be the difference when you started and now?
Well, I'm a lot older, for one. No, you know, I don't know. Well, obviously when we started, we were like the new kids, you know, on the scene. And now we're like the old veterans. So it's a different feeling for me than being the young guy coming up. And as far as the scene, it's difficult to say. I mean, I think it's changed obviously since the 80s until now. But again, I'm sort of, I don't know if I'm the best person to ask, you know, what the scene's like now, because I'm not really out in it like I was then. I feel like I'm this sort of still outsider to the, you know, the scene at large, I guess. So I don't know if I have a great answer for that, but I think it's a lot different.
So when was the last time The Wake performed?
It was in 1999 in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh wow, so there's a huge gap. Are you excited?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We're excited to play, and like I say, we've been planning this for so long that we're definitely anxious to do it. So it's been a long time in coming. But yeah, that show, you know, the last one we did in '99, it was a long time ago.
So if you don't mind me asking, why was there a gap between 99 and now?
Largely because I sort of had my fill of touring in the '90s, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I mean, that's the biggest reason, is that I was just done with it. If you're touring as a club level musician, it's far from glamorous, and it's a tough, well, you can't make a living. So it's a hard route. Um, but of course there's fun, in there also. But the touring itself was just kind of a grind, and I was done with it. So, and then of course we had personnel changes, people's lives going off in different directions. So it was a mixture of a lot of things, but the largest reason why we haven't played since '99 is because I haven't wanted to.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So is it the same lineup from when the original band started?
Actually, yeah. Well, this is like the '94 lineup right now. So we don't have our keyboard player anymore that was on the Masked album, but everyone else is the same lineup. And the four of us, haven't actually performed together since '94. So it's a really big deal.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I, I'm I'm gonna go see you perform. So I'm like so excited for
Oh,
that.
that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see the original lineup. So
Mhm.
yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not trying not to
It should
kind of
be
girl.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay. Will there be any future tours?
That's a good question. It sort of remains to be seen right now. Um, Things are always changing, and it's difficult to say for sure. We're hoping to. I mean, ideally, we'd like to be able to do this, a couple of times a year going forward. But there's also a good chance that these two shows could, like, at least for this lineup, could be like the first, last, and forever. So I mean, there's sort of a lot, riding on these two shows. So we'll see how it works out.
Well, it's gonna turn out great.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, Troy, The Wake was one of the bands that established itself in the Gothic rock genre. What were some of the bands that inspired you?
um I mean, I have an eclectic sort of taste, but I mean, of course, there's all the usual suspects. I mean, Sisters of Mercy were huge. um, the Mission, and the Lorries, Bauhaus, um, a lot of, you know bands that you would guess: Psychedelic Furs, Cocteau Twins, and just, Motorhead. I mean, we're have influences from all over that come in, but yeah, I guess those would have been the main ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
and let's see. So how did Cleopatra Records discover The Wake?
I think we can always thank Patrick Kuzak, as the DJ in New York, for that. Um, I think he turned Brian on to Sideshow. So we had a single out at the time. And I believe that that's what sort of got things going with um, Brian at Cleopatra, was that song, because he liked it. But definitely Patrick was in his ear saying, you should sign these guys. So yeah,
You're no longer in Cleopatra Records. You're now in your own record label, correct?
right. Hmm. Right.
So um how was that established? Um,
Well, we actually started with this label. I mean, back in the day, before we were signed, I mean, we self-released under this label name. Um, and now with the everything digital, it's much easier to go it, on your own without a label. So that's just basically what we decided to do. was to do everything ourselves.
And how do you now like it better that it's become more digital than getting um being known from getting recognition from a record label, since now you have full control over um your your songs and your music?
Right. There, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the plus column for the way things are now. I mean, obviously, um, if you're on a major label, um, you know, it's wonderful to have that recording budget and the tour support and all of those things. So you miss that kind of stuff when you're on your own, but you know, it's a trade-off. So you have, like you mentioned, you have all control over your material and everything. So that's nice.
So what are some of the themes of your latest album of perfumes and fripperies?
Themes? Hmm. Um, I guess I don't know, I have to think about that. Um, it's I guess there's a lot of sort of coming to terms um with the past um and sort of reconciling like where you're at now. I think that's sort of a theme that runs through several songs. Um, I don't know. I guess each one is a little different, and a lot of our stuff, at least lyrically, for me, um, stuff has dual meanings, or it doesn't necessarily take a straight path through the whole song for what it means to me.
Mhm.
It's a little difficult to sort of pigeonhole what everything means.
Yeah,
If
no.
that makes any sense. Sorry.
No, yeah, it makes perfect sense. I don't remember her exact words, but Bjork's there was one quote of Bjork that said like there's certain emotions you just cannot explain, and that's what I try to emulate in my music. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. That sounds about right. Mhm.
Which song is your favorite from this album?
I guess that's changed too, sort of. The more um, I listen, it always changes. Um, but I suppose, I mean, it's also different. Listening to it and performing it is also two different things. Um, but I would guess it would probably be um, Hammer Hall, at least listening to it. Um, and yeah, I would guess I would go with that. Probably.
I guess meaning for why that one is your particular favorite song, whether if it was just when you were producing it or just your inspiration from that song.
Yeah, I think sort of a little of all of that. Um, well, that's almost, so in a way, that's a redemption song, just because when it started out, I hated it and we shelved it. And and we ended up reworking it years later, and then I loved it. Um, as far as the sort of subject matter there, that's a little more abstract, and it's just like the idea of a um, if purgatory was like a dance club, and you basically wake up and find yourself in the club, and as the night progresses you realize where you really are. So that's sort of
It
the
sounds
theme. Yeah.
it sounds very haunting and poetic. Like that's how I pictured it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if you have the power to bring something that no longer exists and take something away that doesn't within the scene, what would those be?
Hmm. Take something away and give something. Hmm. Wow. I think the thing that I would give would be more acceptance. I think people in kind of get too closed off in what they, you know, consider, oh, this is goth, this is not goth. And I don't know, I think we get too wrapped up in labels and stuff. And um, so I would say acceptance is something I would give and take away. Um, hmm, um, I don't know, I guess you could say the reverse of that, what I would remove at the same time. What would you take away?
Me, um, I think a lot of the um, good question. um, for me, I think I would probably take away yes and no, but the elitism, and also there's, at least when I was growing up, like it was when I turned 18, I couldn't go to golf clubs because they were all 21 and over. So I
Mhm,
kind of felt like I missed out on a lot of events. So I would
mhm.
probably say bring back more 18 and over clubs, um
Yeah.
and so there could be more baby bats, and
Mhm,
for it to be accessible
mhm.
for them. So
Yeah.
because by the time they're 21, most of them that were involved in subculture, they went somewhere else. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's good. Good answer.
Yes. So I don't want it to die off. So,
Yeah.
and that's part of the reasons why I started my YouTube channel, from my own experience. So
Mhm.
are you by any chance producing another album? Or
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We will do that for sure. We've got a bunch of stuff in the pipeline right now, so we'll start working on that once. It's hard to, at least for me, it's hard to do sort of switch gears between writing and recording mode and preparing for live stuff. Um, so I don't know if I only have like a one track consciousness or something, um, but yeah, so once we do these shows, we'll start working on recording some stuff again too.
are you thinking of, if these two tour dates
Mhm.
become a success, will
Mm.
you think about touring in the West Coast or?
Yeah, I mean, we would love to. It's just I mean, it's a numbers game, unfortunately, and it's all kinds of numbers. But so we can't, like uh, go out for a month at a time anymore, like we, used to go out for, 5 weeks or something. We can't do that anymore. So we have limited time. And then it gets, down to the West Coast is far away. So, we have to fly. That's expensive. And, everything is expensive right now. So, and it's difficult for a promoter to guarantee you a guarantee um, that can work for them and for you. So it's tough. We would like to. We'll want to go back to Mexico too. Definitely would like to get back there. So there's lots of places we'd like to go, but we'll see what we can do.
Oh yes, I'm sure you have a huge fan base in Mexico City.
Yeah, yeah. They're off the hook down there. Crazy. It's it was it was a good time. I mean, every time we played there was great. So
So what do you think it's the difference between touring in Mexico City versus in the States?
yeah, I'm not really sure. It's I well, I mean, just from and being an observer, like with the fans and the crowd, they seem a lot less sort of self-conscious there. I mean, they just let it, rip when they're, I mean, they come to rock out at the show, and they do. It doesn't seem like they're, I guess it feels like that crowds in the US are a little more reserved, I guess would be the best way to say it.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I mean, that's what it seems like. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's that was my experience anyway.
Okay. And then, yes, definitely. I mean, I remember going to El Under,
Hmm.
and I believe they played Sideshow when I was there. So
Hmm.
it was pretty fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
So
right.
um yeah, definitely I've heard the same thing that um in Mexico the the audience is very passionate when
Yeah,
yeah.
that's yeah, I was just gonna say that they're very passionate. So they're all the way into it, you know. So I mean, it's great. It's a lot of fun to play when you get that kind of response, that feedback back that I mean, you're giving out, and then when you get it back, it's awesome.
Was it easier to produce masked versus perfumes and
Perfumes.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, well, it was totally different just because of the situation. So I think the process is basically sort of the same. Um, but I had more fun with doing perfumes just because I mean, I had more control. So that was, um, and plus just knowing what you're doing more um, makes it more fun. When you know how to do something, it's not hard anymore. So
Okay. And then how was the scene like in Columbus, Ohio?
currently, or yeah, I mean, it's, uh, I don't think there's really I don't think there's a scene in Columbus that I know of. And I mean, again, it's not like I'm, you know, the heartbeat of the scene here, but um, I don't think there is one. I mean, I don't know of any goth clubs here, and I haven't heard about any since like um, I mean the late '90s. So it's a weird. I mean, it's a major city. We're a capital city, but we also have a feel like a small town feel in a way too. So it's odd. There used to be a much larger just music scene in general. It was all centered around the Ohio State University area. Um, but that whole area has changed now too. I mean, it's looks like a strip or a shopping mall basically now. It's like all sanitized, and um, so it's just much different than it was back in the day. I
Okay.
mean, there were bars and clubs everywhere back then, and it just had a whole different feel.
So would you have to go travel back in the 90s? Would you have to travel to New York to experience the nightlife over there? I mean, back
Yeah,
then.
yeah. I mean, basically, yeah. I mean, we stopped playing in Columbus, or I think our last show here was 1991. And we stopped playing here just because, basically there wasn't a scene here. So we wanted to go where there was a scene. So, but yeah, I mean, New York obviously was great, but Chicago and, other East Coast towns were good as well.
Be sure to go check out the Wake's latest album. I will put all the details on the description box below. Um, you have a Bandcamp, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
So I will go link the Bandcamp section down on the description box below. I hope you guys like this video and hope you guys enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe on this channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Mhm. Hey, there are two band camps. One of them is Cleopatra, has our Cleopatra stuff, and the other one has the new stuff on it. So it's the Wake US is ours. So
Okay.
it's FYI.
Okay, I'll definitely link that one then. But
Okay.
thank you so much, Troy.
Hey, thank you.
Mhm.
Right,
I will.
we'll look forward to seeing you at the show.
Oh, definitely. I will see you next month.
All right.
Smile of love, she says, hammer home. It's time.